That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan. That is for zakah, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. Sa is for salamun alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum assalam.
Have you been looking for a new bank where interests play no role? Look no further. Lotus Bank is here to change the game with a breath of fresh air. We'll partner with you to achieve growth and success in almost every facet of your life. Experience a transparent relationship with us. Enjoy the benefits of non-interest banking, zero account maintenance fees, free debit card, 1 month free banking, zero interest on financing and ethical investments. Take that bold step now and embrace the opportunities of non-interest banking. Dial *5405# now. You may also download the Lotus Bank app on Google Play or Apple Store and begin your journey of breath of fresh air. Visit lotusbank.com. Lotus Bank. Partner. Progress. Prosper.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil awwalin wal akhirin, Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon all our viewers and listeners all over the world. You are welcome back to another edition of our Nasiyah, which inshallah today we'll be looking at zakatable items. Today specifically we'll be focusing on about 3 or 4 zakatable items. We are going to look at agricultural produce as one of those zakatable items. In the case of agricultural produce, zakat is expected to be paid on the day of its harvest. In other words, the ruling of zakat with specific, instructions on the nisab waiting for 12 lunar months does not apply to agricultural produce. The reason for this is because Allah, the Most Exalted, specifically mentioned in Quran, Surah An'am, Quran chapter 6, verse 141, where Allah says, وَحَتُّ أَقَهُ يَوْمَ أَصَادِ, that zakat is expected to be paid on the harvested crops on the day of its harvest. So in other words, there are certain agricultural produce that are expected to be planted and harvested about 3 times in a year. So at the moment of harvest, Allah says we must pay its zakat. So the ruling of nisab waiting for 12 lunar months does not apply to these particular zakatable items, which are agricultural produce, such as maize, millet, beans, rice, sorghum, soya beans, and their like. And what is the nisab for this particular line of zakatable items? The nisab for these items are what scholars of fiqh refer to as 5 wasak. 5 wasak is equivalent to 1,200 mudus. And if we want to put it on scale of using kilogram, it is equivalent to 653 kilograms, per harvest, based on the 2/3 of the total yield of that farmer for that year. 1/3 of the harvest is given to the farmer by Allah as his own right. So the nisab of zakat is going to be based on the 2/3 of the harvest. And if we measure this in terms of kilograms, it is equivalent to 653 kilograms. And again, if you want to simplify it further for the understanding of the will-be zakat payer, let us use 50 kilograms of bag of rice. If you divide 653 kilograms by 50 bags of rice, it is going to give you 13 bags. So if a farmer has in his or her own possession 13 bags, maybe for example of rice, then that particular farmer for that year, at that harvesting period, is liable to pay zakat. So what is what we call miqdaru zakat? The zakat rate to be paid is different from what we mentioned in the previous discussion. If the farmer planted, watered, and did the harvesting on naturally irrigated, that is through the rainfall or through the dam, the miqdaru zakat, the zakat rate to be paid on 653 kilograms is going to be 5%. 5%. But if the farmer actually did what we call, self-induced irrigation, then what he or she, or non-irrigation, what he or she is going to pay is going to be what? Is going to be, 10%. But if it is a combined, the hybrid, it is hybrid, that is a combination of irrigated and non-irrigated, then it is going to be 7.5%. So the nisab and the zakat rate differs from the earlier, items which we did mention. So this is how Muslims who are zakatable, calculate or assess to know whether they are zakatable or not, and then if they are zakatable, what is it they are expected to give out as the zakat. Then going further, after this, another subset of the agricultural produce, which before were not zakatable, but because today these items, through technology and through development, they have become commercialized. That is, I'm talking about fruits, such like pawpaw, orange, pineapple, banana, and their likes. In the past, they were not zakatable. But today, you and I will agree with me that there is virtually no kind of fruit that you want to make mention of that has not been transformed from their natural state to what we call juice today, and they have commercial value. So the correct opinion among scholars is that since they have commercial value, they too, they are liable for zakat. And what is their own nisab? Their own nisab is different from the grains that I mentioned. Their own nisab is equivalent to the nisab of money, which we mentioned earlier, which we said it is 1,545,192 naira 90 kobo. That is the nisab. It is the same that applies to fruits of this nature. It must be equal to 85 grams of gold. And then the zakat rate you are expected to pay on them is the same with that of money, which is 2.5%.
Embracing Wakfu program for oneself or on behalf of the parent is Sadaka to Jariya that we afford the dua Jannah be easily life. Key into Wakfu program by bequeathing part of your estate, landed properties and other assets for the sake of Allah. Proceeds or rental fee from this asset shall be judiciously utilized by the tested and trusted Z&S Wakfu Foundation to bring succor to the needy and provision of social amenities and economic empowerment. You can also make a donation of a minimum of 10,000 naira that Z&S Wakfu Foundation will collect to procure assets that are economically viable. No doubt, Wakfu is highly rewarding. Contact Z&S Wakfu Foundation, Suite 12, Tafabalewa Square, Lagos. Call 080-3538-2911. With Wakfu, your asset will earn you Jannah. Be easily life. Be a partaker.
Having said this, let us also look at another item which is zakatable, which is poultry farming, snail rearing, fishery and rabbits. If you have this line of business you are doing, the same nisab of zakat that applies to fruits also applies to this line of business. That is, their monetary value must be equal to 85 grams of gold. And then what you expected to pay as zakat, which we call miqdaru zakat, is 2.5% of this item. I hope we are actually following this explanation. Then the third items again, which I'm going to mention maybe for today, is also what we call honey. groundnut oil, or palm oil. You will also discover that their own nisab is different from these items I've just mentioned. Their own nisab is that it must be equal, their value must be equal to 160 liters or 653 kilograms. If you use liter, it means to simplify it, we are going to have about 32 gallons from 160 liters of either honey or groundnut oil or palm oil. And of course, their own zakat rate, which we call Miqdaru zakat, also differ from that of snail rearing, rabbit or fishery, or that of fruits. It differs. The zakat rate you are going to pay if you are doing this business of honey or groundnut oil or palm oil is that if the ground where this particular line of business is being carried out is a plain ground without any much difficulty, then you are going to pay 1/10 of the value of this item. But if the ground where you are doing this business is mountainous or is very hilly, is very difficult for you to traverse, then you are going to pay 1/20. So 1/20 is lesser than 1/10. So this is the Miqdaru zakat. So a Muslim must understand that it is not generalized in terms of nisab or in terms of zakat rate. They differs. So this is very important, especially most of our people who are dealing with selling of palm oil or selling of groundnut oil, or people who are doing selling of honey. They go to the farm to bring them out. You must know the difference. If the ground where you are doing this particular line of business is plain, it's easy for you to walk about, Allah says the zakat rate you will pay out of 160 liters, if the quantity is up to that, and 160 liters will give you approximately 32 gallons, then you pay 1/10 of it. But if the ground is hilly, is mountainous, is difficult for you to walk about, Allah wants ease for us. He say the zakat rate you pay is 1/28 of it. Allahu Akbar. Allah wants ease for us. He doesn't want difficulties for us. So this is the nisab for honey, palm oil, and for groundnut, which is important for you who wants to pay zakat to understand very clearly, so that we don't get confused. And again, we don't, we are not found one thing in terms of implementing, one of the most important pillars of Islam which Allah has given to us. It is on this note, again, that we are going to pause here, inshallah, so that we continue with our discussion when next we meet. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Oh, Ramadan, that is for zakah to cure our greed. When we give our money to those in need, that is for salamun alaikum, peace be with you wa alaikum assalam.
Labbaik Allah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. This is Hajj Mabrur Ventures Limited. How can we help you, sir?
Can you please tell me about your mode of operations?
Hajj Mabrur Ventures has been a leading private Hajj and Umrah operator for close to 20 years. At Hajj Mabrur Ventures, our pilgrims are our priority. We always provide them with conducive accommodations that are close to Haram, soap purifying sermons from our League of Clerics, state-of-the-art aircraft, zihara in Mecca and Medina, competent medical team.
Aja, please tell him about the feeding twice in a day.
You are right, ma.
This is exactly what I heard from your old client. You guys are fantastic.
Alhamdulillah, sir.
And you will receive a check from me today.
Visit Hajj Mabrur Ventures Limited, 9A, Wing 1, Abiodun Fashake Crescent, behind Old Lasso Campus, Idiroko Bus Stop, Ikorodu Road, and Suite 10, Tafabalewa Square. Telephone 0809-211-3680. Website hajmabruru.com. Simply hospitality, truly spirituality.